Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Happy Thursday, you bastards. We're almost there. I'm starting the top of the hour with a plea for the pledge drive because we're almost done. We have today, we have tomorrow, and that's it. And all we have to do is raise the last remaining funds to kick off our Get Out the Vote election campaign and election coverage for the new year. 2024, you know, it's an election year. So today's deal is the Winter Frontline Funders are going to match your donation twice, 2 times, up to $10,000. You know, I find it helps people in real numbers to say what that means. So $50 donation, $150. See what I mean? So it exponentially increases, and it's really important that you do it today. So would you please text FSTV to 44321 if you want to do it on your phone? You could use this QR code right there. See, everything is backwards on the TV. Right there, and that will take you directly to the Free Speech TV donate page. You can type in freespeech.org and get there as well, or you can call 877-378-8669 to make your gift right now. And thank you so very much. Just remember, whatever you do today, it will be matched 2 times. So that's where we are. Now, my head is not completely here today. No, it is not. Howard is in the operating room right now, and he should be there until about 4 o'clock, and then he goes into the recovery room for about an hour. And so it's like serendipity, right? Because the surgeon is doing his really good and important work while I'm here doing my really good and important work. And then we'll all meet at 5:15 when I'm done. I'm literally, 4 miles from the hospital. I'm 4 minutes from the hospital. So if I seem distracted today, it's because I am. And I hate lying. I don't do it. So I had to just say that up front, right? But okay, so that's what's on my mind. The other things that we need to talk about today is the economy is freaking awesome. See, this is what I was telling you. I'm so sorry that I'm always ahead of the news. I always am. I'm good at reading, the signs. I'm good at seeing red flags. I'm good at, treasure mapping. I'm good at knowing whether to turn right or left, even though I have no sense of direction whatsoever. And it always puts me in the place I need to be, the place I'm supposed to be. You see what I mean? My instincts are impeccable, is what I'm saying. And I have confidence in what I read. I have confidence in what I'm concluding. And so I share it with you ahead of the news, ahead of the freaking news. But, the economy is amazing. The Wall Street news today, it's beautiful. I keep saying this is one of the most equitable recoveries that I've ever seen in my, a grown life, right? Usually the rich get rich first, or they get reimbursed first, or they get bailed out first. You know what I'm talking about, like banks and stuff. But this particular president decided that he wanted to send checks to people, get money in their hands right away. The child tax credit did a whole hell of a lot of good, getting half of the kids in this country that were living in poverty out of poverty. Then the Republicans came and said, oh, that's working too well. We have to nip that in the bud. Can't have that. We need people struggling. We need people, not focusing on, their own business. We need people so busy and so stretched and so confused, like Randi is today, that they can't figure their way out of a paper bag. That's how we win. And then we start a culture war. And we point at a woman's uterus and say, you could control that yet now, if you stick with us, you'll be able to control that. We'll give you some control, not over your own life, but over hers is what we'll do. It's a trade. Anyway, the stock market finally, reached it reached heights that it's never, ever seen before. It set records. The Dow, which is, 30 industrial stocks, it actually closed at 37,090.24, which was the first time that it closed above the 37,000 mark in the history of the Dow. Now, you remember, this is the thing. Donald Trump was so good at selling that as the lone good news. The stock market, his unemployment numbers were bad, okay? He literally allowed for the numbers of COVID deaths to exponentially increase, the number of jobs lost to exponentially increase, the income income that people were experiencing to decrease, wages decreasing. I mean, the whole thing, it just imploded on his watch. Of course, he's not responsible for it, even though it happened on his watch. No, he's not responsible for it. Somehow, President Xi, the guy whose butt he can't kiss hard enough and fast enough, he's responsible for it. Okay, great. But the stock market finally had like this banner day. And it's not just the Dow, which is the 30 industrials. It's the S&P 500, which is 500 companies. It went up to finish the session at 4707. That's 4,700 for the first time since January 2022, okay, when also Joe Biden was presiding. And the NASDAQ closed at 14,733. So all the major averages hit fresh 52-week highs.
Stocks surged to some new record highs yesterday. The Dow soaring more than 500 points. The S&P and NASDAQ hitting their best level since January of 2022 after the Federal Reserve held that key interest rate steady for the third straight time. And they also signaled cuts will be coming in the new year. NBC's senior business correspondent Christine Romans joins us. You called it this time roughly yesterday. You sat there. You predicted that the Federal Reserve would keep the interest rates where they were, which they did. The markets responded positively. Futures are up this morning. What do you make of what we saw yesterday, the gains and more?
Well, look, you can look at your 401k today. You know, a lot of us have been looking through, our hands the last couple of years. Last year was a terrible year in the stock market. This year is pretty good. And I think the Fed did exactly as we expected. So why would that be good news? Because the Fed indicating that there will be cuts coming, that they are done with this rate hiking cycle. And the Fed chief, while he didn't declare victory over inflation, he said it's too early to say they've fixed the inflation problem. But he really laid out a lot of progress on inflation and on the economy overall. He talked about the economy is still very strong, but moderating. That's what you want to see. The job market, low unemployment still. So all those interest rate hikes have not hurt the job market overall. So he really laid out an optimistic Goldilocks picture. Not too hot, not too cold. Just right in the economy.
But even hinting that there could be rate cuts is sort of, let me tell you, I think inflation is fixed without telling you that I think inflation is fixed.
Exactly. I mean, he wasn't wearing a bomber jacket on the, Mission Accomplished. He wasn't, because he's got to tell America, look, if this rears its ugly head again, we can manage it. We can manage inflation. But they are definitely looking toward rate cuts this year. And when you look at their forecast, 3 rate cuts this year. So what does that mean for all of us? Well, for Wall Street and for Main Street, it means borrowing costs will start to decline next year. And that is certainly good news if you're...
Don't buy a house. Yeah, buy a house. This is don't buy it yet. This is pretty much a declaration of victory. Not only a soft landing, but inflation is fixed. And I know they don't want to say inflation is fixed because they don't want to say it and then have inflation, which is down to like 3% now, go up to like 3.5 and have some right-wing lunatic friend go, they said it was over. And look at this chart. It went from 3 to 3.5. It was 9.1%. Okay, inflation has dropped from 9%. That's almost 10%. Of things costing 10% more this year than last year. Right now we're down to 3%. We're trying to get to 2. We will get to 2. I really believe we'll get to 2. And you can see it. I mean, I can see it. I tell you, prices are dropping faster than Ron DeSantis's poll numbers in Florida. I mean, it's fast. It's very fast. Woo! It's like leaving skid marks. I saw gasoline on my way home from the hospital last night. It was $2.89 is what it was. $2.89. The only thing that's up is like the cost of a George Santos cameo, and that's only because Jimmy Kimmel is rigging the marketplace with demand. He keeps on sending questions to George Santos to see if he'll, not questions, sending up fake people. Like, did you see I can't play it because, it's copyrighted. But John Fortuna, he made up this guy, and he asked George Santos to congratulate him on the loose beef eating contest that he won, and he did it. He's shameless. Of course he does it. He's just shameless is what it is. So that's the only thing I can see where the price is up, and that's because rigged marketplace. Thanks a lot, Jimmy Kimmel. How am I going to get my birthday wishes from George Santos next month? I can't afford it. Oh, maybe now I can. All right. This is good. Good.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Want to hear something funny?
If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
That bell marks a new record high for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, going to close above 37,000 for the first time ever.
Not only is he a liar, he's a bad liar. I mean, the crap he makes up is, it's crap. But, he can sell it for the moment. But then, facts come into play. And he looks as dumb as, a rock. And he is as dumb as a rock. The good economy that he had was Obama's economy. Just saying. And then on his watch, the world changed. And he was not prepared. And he was not inventive. And he was not innovative. And he was not on it. He was not, understanding what he needed to do or wanting to do anything he needed to do. Okay. And so we actually watched a million people die. We actually watched our economy tank. We actually watched, cities be shut down. We watched like the complete apocalyptic, stopping of American commerce. We watched the entire economy come to a screeching halt on that man's watch because he decided to tell you to stick, lightsabers up your bum or some such crap in front of a little Debbie Burks who sat there with her little scarf and said nothing about, and what if we could put you see the disinfectant and it kills it like in a second. What if you could put it on the inside? And they're looking into that. They're looking into it. Oh my God. So it's all garbage. It's garbage in, garbage out with that man. But I gotta tell you that, he is literally in Iowa with like a 51% lead over the next competitor in the Republican primary. And, this is despite CNN doing backflips, doing everything, assuming every position in the Kama Sutra, like playing Twister to find new positions that they can get themselves into to make themselves believe that it would be good to feature an entire, talk with Vivek Ramaswamy, Swami. Yeah, I know how to say. But, they spent a crazy amount of time last night talking to this conspiracy theorist who is obviously auditioning to be this Orange Menace's vice president. That is what he's there to do. It's what he wants. It's what he believes, he can accomplish, is to become vice president of the United States, right? By kissing a gigantic target known as Donald Trump's gigunda diapered bunda in public. Just literally lay supine in front of this man and lie for him. Okay. And then the night before, I had to sit and listen to, Florida's losing candidate, Ron DeSantis, because everyone here despises him for various reasons. Okay. Because he lies, number one. Number two, he took on the happiest place on earth for no reason and lost. Okay, he's got a 6-week abortion ban now in this state where people are not happy about it because, Florida is a place where a lot of people come for lower taxes. Florida is a place where people come to retire. Florida is a place where people think the cost of living is lower, and the cost of living is not lower. And now the freedoms are lower. You know what I mean? It's like you can't even have your children come visit you if they are pregnant. Because if, God forbid, something happens while they're here visiting you, no one can help them. I mean, it's very sick. It's very twisted. It's ugly. Texas, too. Same thing. So, but why are they are bending over backwards to accommodate these candidates who have no prayer of doing anything in the Republican primary except, literally worshiping at Donald Trump's feet? I mean, it's very sick. It's very twisted. But the whole thing about the abortion, and now they're going after mifepristone. This is really sick. Okay, this is like medication abortions, like those with mifepristone. It's a 2-drug, regime. They're going to actually. The Supreme Court has said that they're going to accept a review of the ways that you can use and get mifepristone. Like, you can use mifepristone in a 2-drug regime right now at home. You can do it in the privacy of your own bathroom. You could do it in the privacy of your own kitchen. You could do it in the privacy of your own bedroom. Whatever room in your house you like, you can actually take a 2-drug, mifepristone pack, and you can have a safe medication abortion, okay, without cramping, without too much bleeding, without too much discomfort, without nausea, without vomiting. And the Supreme Court was asked to actually restrict that. Can you make that stop? Why would they want to? These medical abortifacients are only useful very early in pregnancy, very early, like prior to 10 weeks. Why would they not want women to have early when they say they're all about early? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would they want to do that? And isn't that a complete and total, if you know that half of all the abortions in this country, half of them, happen with medicine, happen with the 2 pill pack, okay? Early. And you can actually, get a prescription from telehealth. You can get a prescription from your physician's assistant. You don't have to visit your OBGYN. You don't have to go to the doctor. And they want that to end too. They want to put as many obstacles in the way of women, doing the right thing early, women making a difficult choice for themselves, women experiencing freedom. They want that to come to a screeching halt in this country, okay? And this is the way that they get a total abortion ban, even in blue states. They go to the federal judges, they go to the Supremes, and the Supremes say ahead of the election. Now this is what's really crazy. If this, the Supreme said that they will hear this case about the ban on mifepristone, they will hear it. And then, their decisions usually come out in June, right, in the summer. And so that would be right ahead of the November election. Do you think that the Supreme Court is hip to the fact that the progressive turnout, if they rule against mifepristone being available through the internet or being available through a physician's assistant, or that, they would be throwing a bone to the progressive, left if they banned that ahead of the election? Do you think that they're aware of politics? Okay, that was a really stupid question. Of course they're aware. Clarence Thomas is bought and paid for because of politics, okay? Why would you buy a Lido if you weren't aware of politics? Why would you actually pay for their vacations? Why would you pay for their mom's home if you weren't aware? Yeah, but you see, if they throw a bone, and this is what I don't want you to forget, if they throw a bone to the progressives in this country, so that they dampen progressive turnout as a reaction to losing access to mifepristone in June ahead of a November election, just remember that bone that they threw to us, they can always take it back. That's the thing about throwing a bone.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody. We're almost there. We're almost to the end of the Winter Free Speech TV Pledge Drive. Tomorrow is the last day. Today is a double match day, so your money goes twice as far. $5 becomes $15, right? And of course, $500 becomes $1,500. That is a great impact. That is really, really going to help us because the Winter Frontline Funders were so generous this year that they actually agreed to 2 double match days. So this is number 2. This is unbelievable. So they will match your money twice, 2 times. It's unbelievable. So $50, $150 is what we get, right? Well, not me, but Free Speech TV, which is a 501c3 or a 4. It's a not-for-profit. So it's tax deductible is what I'm trying to say. You can call us at 877-378-8669 and make your donation that way. You can use this QR code that's right there. That will take you directly to the Free Speech donate page. You can text FSTV to 44321, FSTV to 44321, or you can just visit us at freespeech.org. And, donate that way. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know I feel really good about this winter pledge drive and this Frontline Funder double match day. 2 of those this particular time was really great. So take advantage of this one. Thank you. Doug in Washington.
Hey, Randy.
Hi.
Wanted to let you know that we're keeping a good thought for Howard.
Oh, thank you.
And as you might remember, this was my first year of real serious health challenges, heart attack, stent, prostate cancer, and I'm doing great. But first, people buy a stinking podcast. Your business model is so weird between Free Speech TV and your direct delivery to us. But the other thing is, if you want to live large, people, $166.66 equals $500, and I just gave it.
Is that what you did?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
So, hoping for the best for Howard, and we're with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much. I will tell him that you said that.
All right. Thanks, baby.
Uh-huh. Be good, Don. Yeah, so $166.66. Yeah, it's 3 times. I made Brett do the math.
I'm furiously calculating here
I
because
cannot.
I have such a tenuous grasp on math.
Me too. It's just I don't have any ability on my right brain side, okay? I'm just not good at that. I have no spatial I can't I won't say I can't follow directions. I can follow directions. I just can't see them in my head. Like some people can, like to get from here to there, they can see it, like they know exact. No, I need landmarks and I need Navi and I need Siri and I need Google Maps and I need it all. Sometimes I'm in my car and so my car actually has, obviously they have Navi systems in your car and then you have Google. Sometimes I have both of them. Okay, I have the phone and I have the Navi that's built into the car. That's how lost I am, especially at night, because I can't see landmarks. And this place is so freaking flat. Everything looks the same.
I always turn on the navigation, and I swear to you, Tony doesn't like the way she talks to me.
What?
Oh, turn left, turn right. A little too seductive for Tony's taste.
Oh, she is a Catholic girl.
Doesn't like the way my Bluetooth talks to me either.
She is a Catholic girl. Oh, at the CYO. But yeah. Okay, so let's move on to what we saw last night. This was so vile. This man, again, smarmy is, you can't spell smarmy without Vivek Ramaswamy. You just can't. You can't spell, no, it goes the other way. You can't spell Ramaswamy without smarmy. Right. Can't do it. He is the lowest of the low, okay? I mean, first of all, I want you to remember how he made his money. We've gone over this before, but I'll do it real nice and tight, okay? So he went to a big pharma company who had a drug that they thought was maybe promising to treat Alzheimer's, which I'm all about, okay, because I'm terrified of it. That is one disease that just freaks me out. Okay, so anything that would help develop, show efficacy for mitigating or preventing Alzheimer's. So of course I paid attention to this, right? Well, he went to this. I guess it was I don't know, and I don't even want to say which one it was, but the company that developed what they thought might be a promising new drug for Alzheimer's treatment. Actually, they put it through clinical trials, and the thing failed. It failed, and so now they had this drug that was not efficacious for Alzheimer's or any other thing that they, got information about with regard to this drug. So Vivek, deciding he wants to be a bio bro, wants to be a big pharma bro, decided that that's where the money is, bro. Decided that that's what he would do. He would start a biotech company and he would buy a drug that failed in clinical trials to treat Alzheimer's at the low basement price of like $4 million. Now, if this drug worked, You know, like we all know that, you know, women who are having difficulty losing weight, they're turning to Mounjaro, they're turning to Ozempic, they call it vitamin O now. Now you're seeing online places where you could go online and you could order it and you can get your little, you know, injection. You could stick it in your own stomach, right? You could tend to yourself and, you know, beat back some pounds that way. Okay. So that is a multi-billion-dollar drug, right? You understand, because the demand for it is humongous. Same thing would have been the case if they had a drug that was useful at all in the treatment of Alzheimer's, but it isn't. So he bought it for like $4 million. Turns out his mommy is a geriatric psychiatrist. And so she took a look at some of the clinical trials, you know, jiggered around a couple of the words, made it seem like maybe it would be promising. Maybe, you know, they didn't do the full throttle of testing for it. And, you know, and he took it public, okay, went public, made literally $1 billion doing it. $1 billion, characterizing a drug that failed as a new drug that was going to go through clinical trials. He made $1 billion in an IPO. And then, you know, stuck everybody in the groin when he announced, oh, it failed. It failed our clinical trial too. It's now worthless. But people, you know, lost their money because, you know, it was a public company that was trading, and they spent money on him. That's how he made his money, just so you know. Okay. So last night, I have to listen to this scam artist. I have to listen to him say, you know, before I was like into politics, before I became, you know, completely immersed in this world, you know, when I was just a biotech CEO, I thought that January 6th was a terrible day. But now that I'm immersed in the world of, oh, I don't know, Donald Trump conspiracy theories or whatever it is, now that I'm immersed in the world of people who actually are going to jail, who are in jail now for like 10 years or 20 years or 5 years, or for doing violence against police officers, for doing violence against the U.S. Capitol, for, you know, participating in an insurrection, for beating people with hockey sticks, with, you know, their crutches, with Blue Lives Matter flagpoles, beating police officers, pushing them and shoving them, heave ho, and crushing them. Now I understand.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, here is his fraudulent self explaining to Abby Phillips how he has come to believe that the violence that he saw on Capitol Hill on January 6th wasn't pro-Trump people who were trying to stop the certification of a free and fair election. No. What he now realizes, it was all a government conspiracy, that it was the FBI, that it was insiders, it was plants, it was all kinds of, I don't know, Donald Trump's government actually was responsible for starting and causing January 6th? Yeah, that's what he had the nerve to tell you last night.
And if you had told me 3 years ago, back when I was a biotech CEO, not steeped in this world, I was just consuming passive media, but was focused on my world of developing medicines. If you had told me that January 6th was in any way an inside job, the subject of government entrapment, I would have told you that was crazy talk. Fringe conspiracy theory nonsense. I can tell you now, having gone somewhat deep in this, it's not. I mean, the reality is this. We do have a government, first of all, we have to acknowledge, that has lied to us systematically over the last several years about the origin of COVID-19, about the Hunter Biden laptop that we were told was false by 51 CIA experts and otherwise before we now know that it was true. You can go straight down the list, the Trump-Russia disinformation collusion hoax, all of it. Now we come to January 6th. The reality is we know that there were federal law enforcement agents in that field. We don't know how many. I think it's shameful. If I may finish just answering.
Well, let me
this is really important.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you here because
I know this establishment doesn't approve of this message. I know
that there were federal agents.
We should be able to talk about this.
You're saying that there were federal agents.
This is important to talk about.
You are saying there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
Yep.
There is no evidence that there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
There is none. There is zero. And there's been a lot of trials, a lot. Like 2,000 people have gone to jail, okay? There's been a lot of sworn testimony. There's been a lot of defense attorneys defending people who participated in this kind of violence. And, most of them have failed. They have failed in their efforts to defend their clients because their clients were caught on videotape, okay? The idea that Donald Trump's government, which he was in charge of, on January 6th, now here's a scary thought, in 2025, this Congress with a Republican leader named Mike Johnson will be in charge of January 6th certification. Just saying. But okay, back then, Donald Trump's government was in charge of the FBI, okay, of law enforcement, and they planted people inside to incite violence, to get Trump supporters to break I don't even know what he's talking about. But Abby Phillips was like, there is no evidence that what you're saying is true. And there's been 2,000, well, I won't say 2,000 because some people pled, right? But there's been multiple hundreds of trials. Stuart Rhodes, the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarria. I mean, these people, I'm sorry, but this is just, so she asked him, where is the evidence? Where is it?
Where is the evidence that the government had applied an inside job?
But no, I'm going to tell you what an inside job is because I'm not
violence on January 6th.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that. And you can push back on that. And let's do this fairly. Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released? 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd.
Oh my God.
Shooting tear gas into that crowd. You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that. Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing people in.
Again,
right through the front door.
The vast majority of
that
the footage
evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun
and I want to talk about one more
by
case.
violent
this is really important.
riders. That's
I'm
what
going
the vast
to give you some hard facts.
Of it shows.
So here's what entrapment is.
Cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking.
You
if I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
He is so disgusting. Okay, so I just want to let you know that I have been at protests where rubber bullets were fired at us, okay, in the crowd. My old producer, Tim T.A., he actually works on Channel 5 in West Palm Beach now. He's a lifestyle, producer. He's on camera. Everybody knows who I'm talking about here in Florida. Everybody knows T.A. You know who he is. Well, T.A. used to be my executive producer, and he went down to a protest in Miami years ago for our show, okay, because we were local. And it was news here. And they were shooting rubber bullets into the crowd. By them, I mean the police were shooting rubber bullets to break up the crowd. And Tim was down there being a producer with a live mic, okay, and headphones on his head, talking to me. And I heard him get hit with a rubber bullet. The damage it did to him was like unbelievably fugly, okay? You're talking, like first it turns red, then it turns purple, then it turns black. I mean, rubber bullets hurt. They hurt a lot. I've seen them where they've shot somebody in the face and a person has lost their cheek like a hole. Doesn't mean you have the ability, the right, the suddenly the law changes and allows you to go and smash windows in the Capitol, to jump through those windows, to climb up to the roof of the Capitol building, or to beat police officers because they pepper sprayed you. This is what he's saying. And he's saying, why haven't we seen it? I've seen it. I don't know why he's alleged. See, this is what con men do. They tell you not to believe your own freaking eyes. We all saw that there were some police officers who, for some reason, I don't know if they felt overwhelmed. I don't know if they were on the side of Donald Trump. I have no earthly idea why they didn't stop protesters from coming into the Capitol. They didn't. Protesters were coming in a door, and they didn't stop them. They didn't. But then you saw other police officers who were chasing them down the hallway trying to protect Mitt Romney from being overwhelmed by these protesters. Then you also saw protesters who were like, oh, Nancy, where are you? You know, I mean, there were all kinds of protests. But his idea that somehow they were entrapped into doing that, they were duped into being violent. How is that a defense in any court of law? I was duped into being violent for Donald Trump. I mean, this is so insane. And how come you didn't see that footage of the I think we all saw it. I think everybody saw it. I think this is what the right wing was hanging their hat on, was this one police officer, or maybe two, who opened the door. This is what they were banking on, that thousands of people who did violence would be somehow forgiven because one police officer opened the door for a marauding mob. I don't know. But this guy is such a front-running phony. I mean, really, his company right now, okay, the one that I was talking about that bought this Alzheimer's drug, he bought it for $5 million. And his mother, Dr. Geetha Ramaswamy, conducted a phase 2 trial 6 months before he went, or 6 months after he went public. He bought this drug, and then 6 months before the IPO, after the majority of phase 2 trials had failed to meet their primary endpoints, which is how it was phrased, in 2010, he devised a solution. His solution was his mother, Geetha Ramaswamy, would conduct a new phase 2 trial involving 684 subjects, and it conveniently claimed to demonstrate sufficient improvement in Alzheimer's symptoms to support a phase 3 trial. That's when he did the IPO. That's when the drug took off. That's when he made $1 billion. And then in the phase 3 trial, of course, this is what I said, they could throw you a bone, right? And then they could always take the bone back. In the phase 3 trials, it failed to meet any of its objectives. And everybody, had to eat it, right? Because that's what the stock market is. It's gambling. And you have to kind of, believe what he's telling you. $350 million IPO in 2015, followed by a drastic fall. In September 2017, his stock, the stock value, had plummeted 75% after they announced that the phase 3 trials failed, okay? And then subsequent trials continued to disappoint. 99% loss in value. So it became a worthless company, actually. So now he starts a second company, okay? This one's called Rovient. You can look it up. And it's hemorrhaging money. I mean, he needs money so badly right now. He needs it desperately. And I think he has decided that he wants to be Donald Trump's vice president, and that's like a way to have control over the FDA, because remember, Donald Trump's entire thing is to take apart what he calls the deep state, which is really the Food and Drug Administration, which goes back to mifepristone. Yeah. And that the FDA approved it 20 years ago, and the conservatives don't like it. They'd like to get rid of the FDA.
Mary had a little man. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
He's perfect. The only perfect person that ever walked this earth was Jesus. But he was wonderful in office for 4 years, and he proved that. So what is it about Trump that you love so much?
Number one, he's a godly man. He's working for God, for darn sure. Number two, he really cares about us. He cares about us. He cares about what happens to us. He cares about our country. He didn't come in there because he wanted the money. He's got money.
He has no money.
He's coming there because he is actually working for God, and he wants to help us, and he wants to get us to he wants to make America great again. And I it's true. But I think he's going to make it even greater, because I don't think, no matter what they try to do to stop him, he's going to come back, because he's working for God, and God's on his side.
Absolutely he is. God.
No, he's going to come back because he's like herpes. That's why he's going to come back. I mean, he's like syphilis, okay? He's working for God.
I just want to ask her, what is it about Trump's behavior that makes you think he's working for God? Just give me a few examples.
Well, I guess, he gets away with it, so God must be countenancing the rape of E. Jean Carroll. God must be countenancing, the fraud and the, fudging of numbers for the purpose of, not paying your taxes properly, but getting, overinsured for things that are, less valuable. I guess, God really does want you to bear false witness and covet things, and I guess God really is about gluttony. I guess he really is about greed. Greed is good.
He really does
Didn't
embody.
God say that, though, Brett? Didn't God say greed is good?
Greed is good is absolutely a theme that runs throughout the Bible. He honestly embodies like all 7 deadly sins. He is he's the poster child for all of them.
I thought it was greed is good was the message of the Bible. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Michael Douglas in Wall Street.
Yeah.
I'm getting the Bible and Michael Douglas. I'm getting Jesus and Michael Douglas. As any woman my age would. Any woman my age would confuse Michael Douglas with God because it's Michael Douglas.
Completely understandable.
Thank you. Yeah. So all of a sudden, Paul Ryan has reared his, fabulous little head from, someplace in Wisconsin and has decided to weigh in on Donald Trump's character, right? I mean, you have these maggots that saying that Donald Trump is a godlike actor. Okay, he acts for God. He acts on Jesus is pulsing through his pores. And everything that he is doing is just as Jesus would want it to be done on earth and as it is in heaven, right? Now, this was ahead of last night's rally, which I'm not playing any of. Okay, I'm just not. It was so unhinged. It was so off the hook. It was so maniacal. It was so, literally he's taking credit for bringing back Christmas. I did not know Christmas went anywhere. But I think he brought back Christmas for White Santa is what he did because, remember, that's what Megyn Kelly said. I think that's why she's, not on the TV anymore. White Santa. But anyway, Paul Ryan actually weighed in about Donald Trump.
Trump's not a conservative. He's an authoritarian narcissist. So I think they basically called him out for that. He's a populist authoritarian narcissist. So historically speaking, all of his tendencies are, basically where narcissism takes him, which is whatever makes him popular, makes him feel good at any given moment. And he doesn't think in classical liberal conservative terms. He thinks in an authoritarian way. And he's been able to get a big chunk of the Republican base to follow him because, he's the culture warrior. And so I think Adam and Liz stepped out of the flow and called it out and, paid for it with their careers. But I think, again, back to my earlier point, I don't think you can be really very good at these jobs unless you're willing to lose these jobs. And there has to be some line, some principle that is so important to you that you're just not going to cross so that when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, you like what you see. I think Adam and Liz are brushing their teeth liking what they see.
So Paul Ryan is saying that Donald Trump is a autocrat and only does and says what he thinks is popular with the people who would. That's very Jesus-like, Paul. That was exactly what Jesus was like.
Where was this hot take, Paul, when he was running for president?
This is exactly what Jesus was like. Because, if Jesus didn't want to be popular, then why did he turn water into wine? You see what I mean? Fishes into loaves. Like, who likes an anchovy? Not that much. But a loaf, bread, oh, come on. So that's what he's doing. Why do you say he's an autocrat? Why? And why are you saying it all these years later?
Another sycophant being completely honest once they get out from under his shadow. It's becoming a theme.
Well, no. I mean, he wasn't a sycophant. He lost his speakership, early.
He did.
So he's not a sycophant. It's just, a little late is what it is. It's like a little late. I will say I like the color of the walls there. That navy blue looks real good. Not with the Green Bay, helmet, but it looked good with the painting he had there. It was nice. But look, the idea that Donald Trump is godlike, or Donald Trump is Jesus-like, or Donald Trump is religious, or Donald Trump even know. Don't you remember 2 Corinthians walk into a bar? This was Donald Trump's, interpretation of 1 Corinthians 13 and 2 Corinthians. I mean, these are the portions of the Bible. He goes, 2 Corinthians. That's the whole game. He had no idea what he was talking about. Not a clue, not an iota, not a scintilla of anything to do with, the Bible. He knows nothing at all. And yet these evangelicals are like, he's acting for God is what he's doing. He's so godlike. He cares about us. He cares about me. Now, that's quite a show, man. That's really quite a snake oil salesman. I mean, it sort of is the pinnacle of what every evangelical Christian televangelist would like to be. And, I don't know why Donald Trump doesn't just cut to the chase and start his own channel and just get it over with and start, grifting on the TV like a normal person. Why in the world does he have to be? Oh, that's right, because he needs to stay out of prison. I get it. I guess Vivek is going to need to stay out of prison, too, because now that he has put himself forward and people are getting curious about how he made his money, perhaps he's going to need to stay out of jail, too. Maybe that's why he's decided to become Donald Trump's vice president. Diane in Pennsylvania.
Hey.
Hey.
Randy, hi.
Hi.
Pennsylvania. I'm in Doylestown. I am in the school district where Karen Smith swore in on a bunch of banned books. Or we turned over our, Anyway, I'm calling you because you're right about Vivek. He is...
Vivek.
Yeah, Vivek. Whatever. But I'm surprised he's not in there. He's not sharing a cell with Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah, there you go.
He really needs to. The guy you're right. I mean, you just touched on it right now, that he should be in jail. And the reason he's running for president, because that's why everybody wants for president these days. To escape.
I can't really think of a reason why he would give up his lucrative position as a CEO of a viable biotech company unless he needed to stay out of jail, and Donald Trump has promised to do that for him.
It is disgusting to me that he bought this company. He bought this patent from GlaxoSmithKline, and he goes out there and he parades it around. He raises all his money, and here we are. We're looking at this guy who speaks faster than any snake oil salesman you can possibly imagine, and he's trying to. He's not really a serious candidate.
No,
he's not.
He is, but for vice president, not for president. He's not literally looking to be president of the United States. He's looking to be vice president of the United States because he knows he cannot, and neither can anybody on those debate stages in the Republican primary, beat Donald Trump. The people that are going to vote for Donald Trump are cult. They're like, they have a cult-like affection for him.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
We are here for one reason and one reason alone. Donald Trump demanded that Republicans impeach, so they are going to impeach. These guys, these Republicans, they don't work for you, the American people. They work for Donald Trump. He says jump, they respond how high. This whole thing is an extreme political stunt. It has no credibility, no legitimacy, and no integrity. It is a sideshow, a distraction from the fact that Republicans have done nothing. They have the wrong priorities. The American people think they are failing miserably, and Republicans need a diversion. So they are weaponizing and abusing impeachment, one of the most somber and serious things that Congress can do to attack President Joe Biden. I get it. They're upset Donald Trump lost. Some of them still don't believe he lost. Many of them are upset that his violent insurrection did not succeed on January 6th. And today they want to finish the job. This is a continuation of their crusade to overturn the election. They have spent a year dredging up every conspiracy you can imagine against Joe Biden. And still, their own investigation their own members, their own witnesses, their own internal documents all say President Joe Biden is a man of integrity who follows the law.
Yes, true. True that. I mean, they have nothing. They have no connection to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. No favors that were done. No policy that was adopted. Nothing. You know, they keep on talking about, Shokin, right? This prosecutor in Ukraine. And the Republicans have characterized this person to you because you don't pay attention, and nor should we have to pay attention to pre-Russia invasion of Ukrainian efforts at decorruption. Why should we know Viktor Shokin's name as a corrupt prosecutor in Ukraine, which is what he was? Viktor Shokin refused and was under he was on the take with corruption and corruptors in Ukraine and refused to investigate the very corrupt, would turn his back to law breaking by people who would, pay him. And so the EU and the State Department of the United States and the President of the United States, Barack Obama, all were hoping that Viktor Shokin, who refused to investigate Burisma's corruption, would leave. They wanted him to go. They wanted him to resign. The entire, civilized world, the entire democratic world, all the NATO allies, the European Union, the entire West was saying, hey, Ukraine's got a really good chance at becoming an EU member. Ukraine has a really good chance of becoming a member of NATO if they would just continue down the road that they're on, where they would, purge all the corrupt oligarchs, they would purge all the corrupt prosecutors, and they would, actually practice a better, cleaner version of democracy. Then they could actually ascend into NATO, or they could ascend into the European Union. And so the West was telling Zelensky, get rid of, these corrupt prosecutors that you have, right? And the conservatives in this country have told you the exact 180 opposite of what that was. They said that Viktor Shokin was investigating Burisma. And that's why Joe Biden, as vice president of the United States, threatened to hold up the aid to Ukraine. That is just exactly the opposite of what happened. What happened was Viktor Shokin was corrupt and refused to investigate Burisma. Now, you just need to keep that in mind the whole time. Because this is what the crux of the impeachment is. This is the whole story that they want you to believe, that Biden somehow protected somehow had a clean prosecutor fired, instead of the entire Western world wanted a dirty prosecutor fired because he wouldn't investigate corruption, which is the true story there. That is the truth. Okay, so we're going to impeach Joe Biden based on opposite land. Now, they've been investigating Joe Biden since the day Joe Biden was sworn in as president, if not before. Okay. And by them, I mean the Oversight Committee. I mean the James Comers, the Andy Biggs, the Marjorie Taylor Greens. I mean, didn't Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, didn't they call for, Biden's impeachment on day one? Okay. There is nothing there. There is no there. They have no evidence. Comer has admitted as much on television. Fox has grilled him. They have tried to find out what are you going to, what are the impeachment charges? Like, what's the crime or what's the high crime or misdemeanor? What are you charging? We don't know. That's why we have to have an impeachment inquiry. That is a weaponization of Congress's power to impeach. It is an absolute undemocratic, let's put it that way, use of the impeachment. Look, they did it with Bill Clinton, too. I mean, this is all Newt Gingrich. You want to know where this started. This started in 1994. This started with Newt Gingrich. It started with the contract on America. Okay, and this was Newt Gingrich's idea that you impeached, Bill Clinton, one of the most popular presidents, one of the most accomplished presidents, meaning the only president that balanced the budget of the United States, the only one. and created 22 million jobs when the economy was flailing before Bill Clinton's presidency. Now, there's a lot of things Bill Clinton did, in the area of deregulation. There's a lot of, things he did in the area of conglomeration and, trust building, like vertical and horizontal. And it was just like, it was too much for me. Cost a lot of jobs in my industry. But as far as the presidency goes, Bill Clinton was one of the most successful presidents in the history of the presidency, and they decided that was no good, so they had to impeach him. And they had nothing to impeach him on because he was, for all his foibles, he never broke the law. He never did. But he did have a consensual affair during a Newt Gingrich organized government shutdown. So Newt Gingrich decided to shut down the government, much like the Republicans love to do here, right? Not pay our bills, default the United States, threaten to default the United States, whatever, shut it down. And then you have interns from various, different places in the government, like the Pentagon, for instance, having to work at the White House. Interns, 24-year-olds. And that's what Monica Lewinsky was. And so she went over there, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, this girl who was working in a Pentagon cubicle next to Linda Tripp is now down the hall from the President of the United States of America, who's in his 40s, who's very freaking attractive. Now, I've met Bill Clinton more than once, more than twice, more than three times. I've been in lots of, I don't even want to call them meetings, fundraisers. I've introduced him on public stages, 42nd President of the United States of America. He's very, very good looking. He's tall. He's sparkly. He's charming. And she fell madly in love with him. That's the crime. And so that's what started using impeachment, which was a sober, somber thing, for craps and giggles. And they did impeach Bill Clinton. Newt Gingrich, who was also having an affair. And then once he was exposed, the guy next in line, Livingston, he couldn't be speaker either because he was having an affair.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, everybody, this is the last pitch for today's double match day, and it is double match day. So, if you did $5 becomes not just 10, becomes $15. Yes, because they're double matching whatever amount you can pledge comfortably today. The frontline funders are for the Free Speech TV Winter Pledge Drive, and this is a double match day, which are the best days because your money counts 3 times as much. 3 times. It's, a lot of math. But we do know this, $166.66 on a double match day is $500 for Free Speech TV to use because the frontline funders match your $166.66 twice. And so the benefit is to the Free Speech TV staff that works in Denver, Colorado. There's about 16, 17 of them sometimes. And it is a 501c4, so that means it's a not-for-profit. And it is a tax-deductible gift. So whatever you can comfortably do, please do now at 1-877-378-8669. That will get you some lovely person in Denver, Colorado, who you will be helping to pay their salary. You can use that QR code that's right there on the screen, and it will take you to the donate page on freespeech.org. You can go to freespeech.org. You can go to freespeech.org/donate and get right to the donate page, or text 44321. FSTV are the letters you want to put in. So put in FSTV and text to 44321. We'll send you a secure link. You can make your donation that way. You could do a one-time, you could do a recurring, whatever. But it's the next to last day for the Winter Pledge Drive, and it's a good one because it's a double match. Thank you very, very much. All right, so everybody is trying to explain to you why this impeachment is folly and why this impeachment is phony and why this impeachment is happening. And it's only happening because Donald Trump wants it to happen. And so you might sit there and say, my God, why are the House Republicans responding like to Donald Trump, who isn't president anymore and hasn't been president for 3 years now? They are shifting. They are shifting and posturing as if Donald Trump were coming back. And you can see that with this impeachment. You could see it in the vote last night. Ken Buck from Colorado wrote an entire op-ed, wrote a whole opinion piece, published it in either the Washington, I think it was the Washington Post, saying how there is no evidence at all that connects Joe Biden to any business dealings of Hunter Biden's. There is no crime. There is no misdemeanor. There is nothing impeachable that is happening around or including Joe Biden that they could actually move on. There's nothing. And that this is a crime that they haven't named in search of a perpetrator that they have named. I mean, it's like an Agatha Christie where, you know the crime and you have to figure out, like who the perpetrator. I mean, it's the opposite. You don't even know what the crime is because they don't know. They don't know. They're making stuff up, okay? And they're only doing it because Donald Trump wants it done. And they're afraid, I swear to God. You have fearful MAGAs and you have proud MAGAs. This is what Mark Elias, who is the unbelievable election attorney who exposed all of this, corruption that went on with Donald Trump saying that our elections weren't free and fair and actually went to court. I mean, this is one of the guys that brings all these cases on our behalf, argues for on our side. And if there would be corruption, if there would be vote flipping, if there would be bad machines, Mark Elias would bring that case too. Okay, and he's trying to explain to you that what's going on here is that there are proud MAGAs and there are fearful MAGAs, and they're afraid that if they don't posture themselves, if they don't, bend to the will of Donald Trump now, should Donald Trump get into the presidency, their lives will become untenable. He will primary them, or he will threaten them, or he will prosecute them, or he will round them up and put them in Congress camps. Whatever he's going to do, that's authoritarian and ugly and anti-democratic. They're afraid of him, and they're afraid of his voters. And his voters, as you know, from past experience and a current case that's going on right now, Rudy Giuliani has been found liable in the defamation of Shea Moss and Ruby Freeman. And they are doing the damages portion of that trial now. And in the damages portion of that trial, after he was found to be liable to have defamed them and caused them great personal harm and made them, they had to flee their homes. The FBI came and told them they can't stay in their own homes. Okay. And they told you stories about how they were afraid to even go to the supermarket. And Shea Moss, she said, she's a young woman and she was carefree and she was very close with her mother, and they worked as election poll workers. They volunteered their time to do something like that. And it all turned into being, dangerous for them. And they took all these recordings into court and they were played for this jury. And the recordings are vile. I'm not playing them. And I told you I won't play them because they have N-word, 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 bitch, C-word, this word, that word. It's so ugly. Threatening them, threatening their lives, telling them that they would be cut up and taken out and put in trash bags. Literally. And all these tapes have been played for the jury. And that is what the Congress members who fear Donald Trump are afraid of. They're not afraid of Donald Trump per se. They're afraid of the cult that follows Donald Trump. They're afraid of the voters that will do violence for Donald Trump, which is why Vivek, Mr. Smarmy there was trying to, say, oh, it was a deep state thing. And it's such a joke. It's such a joke because you can look at what Donald Trump calling for. He named Ruby Freeman. Donald Trump did. Rudy Giuliani named Ruby Freeman. And look what happened to their lives. Just blown up. Just untenable. And what were they doing? A good thing, a nice thing, a civic thing, a kind thing, a public service. That's what they were doing. Okay. And so that's what these members of Congress are afraid of. They're afraid of another January 6th. They're afraid that this time Trump will name them instead of Nancy Pelosi. Trump will name them instead of Mike Pence. Right? And they're doing whatever he wants them to do. And he wants them to impeach Joe Biden. Why? To dirty him up. To make it sort of even, right? Where Trump goes, oh, well, they impeached me. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. The whole impeachment thing is a joke. They impeached Joe Biden, too, and they're going to impeach me again if I become the president. It's a joke. Don't pay any attention to the impeachment thing. It's all, it's like, and literally what he's doing is taking a power that Congress has, basically of oversight over the executive branch, a political oversight that the Congress has. Impeachment is not an indictment in a court of law. It's a political indictment. And then the Senate holds the trial, right? And Donald Trump is taking away the legitimacy of that exercise the way Newt Gingrich did with Bill Clinton all those years ago. So that when anybody tries to hold Donald Trump accountable in Congress after, if the Democrats ever get Congress back, which they will, it will all be laughable. People will actually call me up and go, yeah, but they impeached Joe Biden too.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
7 years ago, Donald Trump took the presidency. Pundits, allies, and adversaries tried to believe he'd be a normal president, a normal Republican, and that the good guys would steer him right. They were wrong then. They're wrong now. His legacy was chaos, hate, violence, and corruption, counted in a grim tally of deaths, 500,000 graves, a wrecked economy, massive spending and debt. Trump shamed us to the world, shattering alliances and fawning for every small-time dictator and full-time thug. He made America weaker, poorer, and less secure. Defeated, he drove a shameful assault on our democracy. He's back and more dangerous than before. Stop pretending that this is just a campaign, that his threats are a joke, just more locker room talk, that a Republican can beat him, or Joe Biden won't run. Wake up, grow up, get in the fight. If he wins, his plans are clear and terrifying. He's promised to take revenge on us, on the country that rejected him. It's a risk we can't take. That's why this election is about one thing. It's America or Trump.
Pretty much, you got it right there. I mean, that is the right way to look at it. It's America, it's democracy, or Trump. You can't have both because Donald Trump doesn't believe in democracy. He doesn't believe in America. He believes in Donald Trump. He believes in the grift. He believes that he was put on this earth to get away with things that no other mortal man could get away with. That's what he believes. That is who he is. That is what Donald Trump wants with us, and that is what we'll get. So grow up and realize this has been going on for 7 freaking years now. Can you believe this? 7 years we've been exposed to this kind of otherization of this one and that one and hatred and only I can fix it, authoritarian talk and deep state conspiracy theories and garbage in, garbage out. I mean, really, we've been through COVID. We've been through, an enormous amount of death. We've been through isolation. We've been through shutters. We've been through no toilet paper. We've been through hurricanes where he threw toilet paper. Okay, paper towels. Threw paper towels at people and said, why should we fix Puerto Rico? It's over there. There's oceans and we don't have, we don't have trucks for the ocean. We don't have trucks for the ocean. So you can't get trucks to Puerto Rico was his argument because it's surrounded by ocean. The trucks of the ocean are called ships. Let's make him commander in chief. Crazy.
There are no moderate Republicans. We need to just stop with the nonsense. There are no moderate Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives. There are proud MAGA and there are scared MAGA.
Right.
That's it. 221 of them. Every single member of the Republican House, whether they were a proud MAGA or scared MAGA, just voted for a bogus, nonsensical impeachment motion to proceed because they pay fealty to Donald Trump. And it is a shameful moment in American history. It is a shameful moment for each one of these members, but it is an important moment that every American watching right now should realize that there is nothing other than an authoritarian MAGA movement in the Republican Party. And come next November, those members of Congress, a large number of them are going to lose their seats over this.
Yeah, but you know, what's Mark Elias is right. Okay, he's absolutely right. They did vote last night. 221, every single Republican voted last night to go ahead and start an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, into probably the most honest guy I ever met in my life. Okay, Joe Biden. Like him, don't like him. He's honest. Okay, he's not a liar. I mean, sometimes he embellishes a story. You know, who doesn't? He's not a phony. He's not a fraud. He's not a grifter. He's a person who is being punished for unconditionally loving his son, even when his son was a mess, like so many of our kids go through. But yes, they started this impeachment inquiry last night. And if you think that they're going to do an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden only to clear him ahead of an election, then I can sell you Donald Trump. I can sell you anything. There is no way that all 221 Republicans, even Ken Buck, who wrote an entire op-ed in the Washington Post saying that Joe Biden didn't do anything impeachable, would never do anything impeachable, has never done anything impeachable, and yet he voted yes, to start an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden last night. Now, if you think that the inquiry is there to clear Joe Biden's name ahead of the 2024 presidential election, listen, you should turn the TV off right now, because you're never, ever, ever going to be somebody that I can converse with in an open and honest manner. That's not going to happen between us, because you are part of a cult and I am not. So of course they're going to impeach Joe Biden ahead of the 2024 election. I don't know what for. I honestly have no clue what for. But they are going to do that. It was like with Bill Clinton. I had no idea what the crime was. I had no idea. And when they actually had Bill Clinton under oath to testify about, Monica Lewinsky, or no, it wasn't about, it was about Monica Lewinsky. He said, they asked him, did he have sex? And he said, it depends on what your definition of sex is. And it also depends on what your definition of is. And this is what turned America into, like a raging, let's discuss it kind of I think he ought to be, brought in guilty, because they didn't like his answer. They didn't like it. They're going to do the same thing to Joe Biden. They're just going to find a way to say he said this, and they're going to what you're going to see over and over again. That very old videotape of when he was vice president of the United States, and there was aid money that was supposed to go to Ukraine. I think it was like a couple $1 billion, maybe $8 billion. It was a lot of billions. And he said that, they weren't going to get this money unless they fired Viktor Shokin, because he refused to look into corruption. He refused to do that job. And that's why he held up the aid to Ukraine. Donald Trump, on the other hand, also held up aid to Ukraine, but he wanted dirt on Joe Biden in exchange. Can you see the difference? Jay in Washington.
I have a possible solution.
Okay.
Let's take all these people that don't like democracy and they're trying to make it not function and deport them to one of these plastic islands out in one of the oceans. Maybe it's a win-win. They can have their own little country.
And under whose authority are we rounding them up and deporting them? Under what
I'm not sure on that
principle?
part. It's unsure. This is all tongue-in-cheek, but might be a good spot for them.
I understand it's tongue-in-cheek, but, even suggesting that there could be a mass deportation of people you disagree with is bizarre. It's not.
Yeah, I get that,
right.
But it was just a joke.
If
I wanted to live in a fascist nation, I would move there. I've been saying that for 7 years.
Well, you're assuming that they take anybody.
Anyway, have a good day.
Somebody's hot. Josh in Wisconsin.
Randy, hey, I like you.
Thank you.
You're the real deal.
Uh-huh. Thank
so
you.
Here's the thing. As you know, I'm a small business owner, and I'm actually pissed off at Joe Biden because the economy is so good.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I don't get a regular 401k. I have to put money away aside and then invest it like a SEP or something. And I've been waiting for this recession for 3 years, and it's never happened. You're supposed to buy on the dips, right? There haven't been any dips, Randy.
Yeah.
No dips.
I
And I was just driving past a gas station today. I used to see these stickers that said, I did this, like pointing to all the high gas prices. Now they're all low. I was tearing them down before. I want to start putting them back up.
Good minds, Josh. I had the same damn thought today because, it's disgusting out. Of course it is, because now I have to walk the dog for the next, foreseeable future. So anyway, it's really, so I have my umbrella on the tag of my umbrella. I never cut the tag. I had peeled off one of those I did that Joe Biden stickers, and I just put it on the plastic tag. And I still have it. And I was so tempted to peel it off of the tag and put it on the $2.98 or 89-cent gas price with Joe Biden pointing to it going, I did that. I had the same idea. And then I remembered that somebody had called the show and told me that defacing a gas pump is like a federal crime or something, because they were complaining about people doing it when they were doing it, and so I didn't do it. But I thought about it. I wanted to do it too. So
my best to Howard. Hope you get better.
Thank you. All right, so I'm on my way now. I'll be at the hospital in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Fair warning. Fair warning. They know who I am. I have to bring them T-shirts. Okay, I got a whole stack of them. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your good wishes. Thank you for those of you who are wishing him well. I will be here tomorrow to tell you.